country on the Arabian Gulf, quite unlike any other. A country of vast dramatic landscapes, cultural and religious tradition, and opulence. A country that offers a vivid reminder of ancient times and a sense of peacefulness and mysterious discretion to those who seek to catch a glimpse of Arabian culture. Omani people are remarkably kind and friendly. Foreigners are welcomed with open arms and met with gentle curiosity. In return, visitors are expected to respect local values and attitudes. Omanis are very proud of their country and foster deep respect for their religious identity. With religion being such an important part of Omani society, you might not be surprised that faith also plays an important role in healthcare and shapes people's perspectives on illness, suffering, and death. As a group of medical students, we had the privilege of being welcomed at Sultan Qaboos University Hospital in the capital of the country, Muscat, for a period of 6 weeks. Coming from various cultural backgrounds ourselves, we all had a bit of an idea of what we could encounter in this medical setting, but there weren't any clear expectations. We wanted to find out how Omani Muslims view illness and death. Do medical professionals practice according to their religion? And do patients perceive illness differently than Dutch patients? To find out, we interviewed a group of prominent medical doctors and a religious expert working for the Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque.
There are things that God will test us with. So with disease, it's something that He's testing us with. Loss of loved ones, yes, loss of wealth, yeah, having fear, like not security, you don't feel secure. So all of these are tests from God. But we also believe in destiny, okay, that there are things that God has, like prescribed to happen to us. It's not, again, we are looking at it as a test, because otherwise everyone who undergoes a very bad health would want to die or commit suicide. I mean, in Europe you have something called euthanasia, right? Where you can kill someone or someone can choose to die because they cannot withstand. We can't, we don't have that option because we believe that this is from God, and then there is always something good that happens after any test. You get a reward for being patient. You get a reward for taking medication, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Tadawu." Okay, tadawu, you have to seek treatment. So it's not like, okay, I believe that this is from God and I sit, or God gave it to me, God will take it away. No, you also, in our faith is not only belief, it's act. So I believe it's from God, but also I have to act. So I have to, even just to go and seek medication. We know that the healing comes from God. Eventually, healing comes from God, because there are so many examples that where the doctors say, we never thought that this person will heal, but he heals, and they don't know how it happens. So we believe that also comes from God. He is a Shafi, it's one of his names. He will cure you. And also another thing that we also, the Prophet ﷺ prescribed that dawu mardakum bis-sadaqa. If you have someone who is sick at home, try to do more good things. Try to be charitable. The more charity you give, it also helps, because when you are blessed, you're not only blessed in terms of money, you are blessed in terms of health, you're blessed in terms of security, you're blessed in terms of the people around you, you're blessed in terms of having good siblings, good friends, good neighbors. These are all blessings. They don't come in one form.
I don't think we have a different view. We have different understanding. of it. I feel people in here, because we're so connected as a family together. When you get diagnosed with something serious, you get a lot of emotional, physical, social support the moment you get diagnosed with the disease, and that help you to cope better with the disease. Because
Dutch people are known to have a very matter-of-fact attitude towards disease that can help us rationalize the changes that sickness can make to our bodies and lives. However, studies show that a more positive outlook on one's disease can actually help in recovery from illness, and the opposite is true with a negative attitude. Because of cultural differences, Omani people tend to have different coping mechanisms when they get sick than Dutch people.
A lot of us, we don't know when we're gonna die, but when a doctor tells you that this disease is going to cause your death, you actually having that warning before death, so you actually increase your worships. So yeah, so when the day comes and you're dead, yeah, so you know that at least I died closer to God, you know. While a lot of us, we don't have that opportunity. You can just go out and get killed by a car accident, but you didn't have that opportunity of actually repenting, of actually doing more good deeds, and you know, fixing your prayer, fixing your relationship with God, fixing your relationship with other people, you know.
Family is everything in Oman, and it defines one's identity as an individual. Here, the concept of family is even broader than in the West, as it includes even extended family, friends, and acquaintances. Oftentimes, you'll see that family members will take up responsibility in decision making for their sick relative, and many patients appreciate family involvement in their medical care.
Here we have a very strong family support, so people live in large families. So that also adds a lot to the fact that you know, when you need moral support, you're not on your own. You don't have to go and find like a support group outside, because you have already the support group is in your family. So that helps a lot. Involving the family in breaking bad news is used many times. It helps also in in coping, in making the patient cope with the bad news. But of course, it has to be done after the patient gives permission that the family should be there when there's breaking bad news. The problem here is that we have extended families, so we're not talking about your wife and kids. We're talking about your third cousin, you know, and neighbor, and you know, friend of your. Because we are a very tightly knit society, so people feel that they want to help.
I don't think they have a different peace. I think peace is very subjective upon your background and your faith and your culture, right? But I feel like, because people are very connected to the faith in Oman, being majority Muslim country, and they believe everything is a gift from God, including disease, right? I think I wouldn't say they are at more peace than the rest of the world, but I would think the way they absorb the information and the way they cope with it, it's a bit different, because there is always an escape route for them. Being, you know, praying to God, you know, reading the Holy Quran, meeting one of those community leaders religiously. I feel that access provide extra support to them, helping them to achieve that peace. But I think every culture and every religion and every community, they have their own way of achieving that eternal peace when they get diagnosed with cancer, or when they deal with difficult problems.
If a sickness in a patient will cause the patient to pass away, palliative care can be given. Palliative care focuses on reducing pain and other symptoms of diseases at the end of someone's life to increase the quality of the time they have left. In Oman, the discipline of palliative care is a relatively new one.
So we call treatment also in Arabic, which means treatment means a cure. Actually, we don't have a phrase for treatment other than the same phrase for cure. So also patients, they don't have the concept that chemotherapy, palliative chemotherapy means it's only a little bit try to control the disease. We are trying to control the disease, but there will be no day that you will not have the disease anymore. Made about what treatment we take further, where to go, because usually they go abroad and they seek a second opinion. If you say we are just trying to control the cancer, we cannot cure you, and that information is given in pieces, because if you say it once, sometimes they don't want to listen from you. They think that you are pessimistic and you are gonna let them die, and they don't consider palliative care a good care. Even to some oncologists, we need to re-emphasize that what we are trying to do is that scientifically you are not going to improve this patient condition, but palliative care can. So why not to approach palliative care while patient needs this for their terminal cancers? So we don't have that transition from hospitals to home. We don't have hospice, nursing homes. Usually the family is extended and they take care of each other. We don't have long-term facilities for patients who cannot stay home or they don't have anybody at home. We have one or two hospice which are for patients who don't have no family to take care at all, no cousin, no nephew, no niece, nobody. I mean, even the tribe not taking care of them well, then you can go to a hospice, and so that also affects our care, because patients either are at a tertiary hospital like this center or they are at home, where sometimes we ask which home we are discharging the patient to. Is it a good, well-established home where the family easily provide everything to the patient? There is a bathroom, there is a bedroom, a bed, a comfortable bed. There's somebody accompanying the patient, or we are sending a patient to, not even, you cannot say it's a home, with the because here the socioeconomic status of patient differ greatly. So sometimes we think about it before we decide to send patient home, and but we hope that the health structure will improve, at least for a transitioning period, because sometimes all what the patient needs is nursing, and because there's no nursing at home, then, or we cannot provide a nursing home, then we end up keeping them in hospital where they're exposed to more infection and
At the end of everyone's life must come death. Death can carry great cultural importance in both the Netherlands and Oman, but the way the dying cope with their fate and the way the ones left behind grieve can be very different between the two countries.
Death and dying in Islamic culture, that's one of the big things that we wanted to know about. So usually we say Islam is very beautiful, but how do we apply or understand? It's the same, there are people who understand and they deal with the beautiful way of the religion, and some who they behave from their own personality. So it's hard to decide if our religion affects our understanding to palliative care or end of life. But people came to understanding to remove their loved ones from ICU and tubes, especially those who have been intubated for long years with uncurable illness. Once there was fatwa, fatwa, it's when an Islamic figure, a big Islamic figure in the place says, we have a mufti who gives fatwa. And fatwa, it's not like a law, it's like an opinion, Islamic opinion about something. So once there was a lot of fatwas about if there's no cure, you should do no harm, and you don't prolong the suffering. It's the same concepts of palliative care. And if there is no cure, and this is by 2 or more consultants, then you shouldn't put your loved ones in tubes and in ventilation. So a lot of people over here, they listened actually to fatwa, and they obliged to take this big decision they have been reluctant to take for years. Majority of our patients are very peaceful at the end of life. Majority are very peaceful. They think that they had a good life. They came towards the end. It's just different end than other people. A lot of patients, they don't understand even they are dying sometimes. And unless they have like a deterioration, then they improve. They say, "Oh, so I'm gonna die, doctor. I'm gonna die," or something like that.
If you rely only on science and you don't have a fallback mechanism, so our religion tells us to kind of cope with this in a gracious way and try not to let it overwhelm you as much as possible, because the soul is returning to God. So people here, that's how they feel when they face death, whether it's in the family or the patient themselves are facing death.
Not necessarily accepting to die, but not suffering a lot at the end of life. Maybe because is it spiritual, because of the less knowledge about it, because most of my patients when I was in my residential fellowship were educated patients. In majority, they understand what is cancer, how patients die with cancer when they are in the palliative care service. Actually, they were deciding by themselves to enter a palliative care service for their end of life. So I think the waiting for things to happen, understanding that things may happen soon, gave them a lot of anxiety, and they were depressed about it. Here, a lot of patients, they don't even know that they have a cancer. Sometimes I go and I'm impressed that they say, "I want to go home," and they cannot go home. Usually, there's a concept that any patient who dies with cancer, he's gonna go to heaven because of the suffering they had through their illness, with their treatment, and majority. So patient, there's difference. So patient, they want to die at home, but family cannot cope with dying at home. So usually patient end up dying in hospitals. And actually, one of the questionnaire that we wanted to run in our culture is to ask this: where about death and dying, and what is their concept? There were few successful stories where patient could die at home when there was a medical professional within the family. Otherwise, a lot of medication are not available at home, especially injectable medication. So it's actually very challenging to send our patient to die at home if they are suffering. The other point is good death means to them if they were able to say shahadatain, which are two phrases, means that we are Muslims. If they were able to say it and their tongue was able to say it, means it's a good death. If they weren't able to say it, then it's not a good death. And usually we try to, tell them when it's the time to say it. Actually, some people say, please tell us when it's the time. And I say it every day. Why you wait our opinion if you can say it the whole time? You can say it. And that makes them have more satisfaction. And also the other thing is, when it's in a church or hospital like this, when they die here, they feel blessed. We were in a good care, nursing care, and so they consider it comfortable. A lot of patients, they consider it comfortable.
We hope to have given you a clear perspective on illness and suffering amongst Omani Muslims. We certainly learned a lot from making this documentary, and we'll take these lessons into account in our future practice. We want to thank you for watching.
زمن يكفي ترى الحال استوى أنا تحملت مرارات الهوى والجور والنكران من يا زمن يكفي ترى الحال استوى حتى الذي أهوى